Like, oh, here it is. Look, that's what it's. Oh, okay, now this one started at $18,654. There you go. So that was the opening bid was 18,000. I got it for 21. So somebody was there bidding for a second, and they just gave up. And a lot of times they give up when they bid against us too, because I'm down there buying 100 properties, and I got little Joe, one guy down there, and he's wanting one property. But here we are buying everything, and so these guys are just like, screw it. These guys are going to buy another one. I just keep running. I don't stop. Here we go. All right, I'll buy that one. So people don't bid against us a lot. Or my guy that goes to sale sometimes, if he's got a guy bidding against him, he'll be like, hey, here's $300. Don't bid against me on this one, right? Here's $250. Don't bid against me on this one. And we do that game all the time. I'll be down and be like, me and the three other guys I compete with, the three main companies, I'll say, hey guys, here's my 150 properties. I want, let me see yours. And then we'll have like 50 that overlap. I'll be like, okay, here's the ones I really want. Do you really want these? And they're like, well, I want this one, Tyler. I don't want this one. I'm like, okay, listen, when this one comes up, don't bid. I'll give you 500. And then they're like, okay, well, don't bid on these, Tyler. I'll give you 1,000. So we kind of play that game, if that makes any sense. Yeah.
So if you're buying, say, 100 properties or 50 properties, how can you handle the rehabs for so many properties?
I have a massive construction company. I'm the biggest construction company in all my cities. So, but I own them, right? So, but I'll let you guys use my construction company. So the deal is this. We'll go to the sale for you guys, right? I do all the due diligence, and I say, here's a construction list of all the construction items needed, and then we'll do the construction work for you. I'm obviously going to charge you a fee. I only know what my cost is because my construction company only does business for my real estate company. I don't contract my guys out. People don't call me up and say, hey, Tyler, we want you to go do this rehab job. I have plenty for my own guys. So in this instance, you guys would use my guys. I'd say, here's cost plus 10%, 20%, whatever it is. I'll do cost plus. So that's how I make my profit on those things. But I'll use my own crews for you guys. I can't do 100 at once. No, I can work on 30 at once, 40 at once. But I'll get to them, right? I mean, I knock them out, boom, 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 going down the road.
But you don't have estimate for all the properties because we haven't bought the property yet. You haven't bought the property yet.
But I go get the estimates beforehand. So which take it back to the beginning. So I get the list. I start looking at my list. I refine it. Then a couple weeks before the sale, I re-look at that list because 60 to 70% of them, they pay the taxes off, right? So here's the 30% that are left. Of that 30%, say half of them are ones that I like, okay, that I would recommend for you guys. That half may be 200 properties. My rehab crews go out and estimate all those. So they'll just run to the houses, boom, they're running through the houses. And then I'll put that in the due diligence package of these 75 remaining properties that may work for us. Here's my title work. Here's my rehab estimate, and here's what my recommendation would be. Is this a flip, a retail, a buy and hold? So that's all part of my due diligence packet. But I don't do that till the very end so I don't waste my time because 60 or 70% of them go away. Does that make sense?
How long the rehab will take after the deal in February?
Well, it depends on the house. Like I said, that one on 68th Street took me two weeks. The one I just showed you, this was 2 weeks. This was a 2-week rehab. That was 2 weeks. This property took me 2 weeks to rehab, right? That's just what it took me on that one. This one here would have taken me about 3 to 4 months. I didn't rehab it. So every house is different depending on how much work it needs. No house is the same. It could be 1 day, it could be 6 months.
So if we are flipping over, roughly it will take about 1 year process after rehab and then sale.
Yeah, it's going to take you, to get this deed is going to be 6 months. And then I'm not going to start rehabbing it the very first day you get the deed probably because I'll have 100 of them in my pipeline. You're just going to have to get in line, right? So maybe it takes 3 weeks for me to start this project. Or let's just say a month, worst case. And let's say on average they're a month rehab, okay? So 6 months plus 1 would be 7, plus 1 would be 8. To flip out of it, your best case is another month would be 9. So you're 9 to 12 months if you're trying to flip out of them. That's about right. Yep. But so that's the downfall to this thing, right? This thing takes more time, but you can save a lot more money, right? And, I'm thinking 20% on the turnkey ones that you're saving. I've never let anybody have the ability to flip like this, though, right? For somebody who just wants to buy this and flip it to another wholesaler, well, that can happen almost immediately because I can help put you guys in touch with the agents and the people who like to buy this stuff. And so you guys can just deal directly with them and just flip out of them. A lot of these I flip out of. I just buy them, flip, buy them, and flip, buy them, and flip. Because most people, okay, so this is another thing. For real estate, kind of works like this. The way I see it, here's the general way I kind of look at everything. The guy with knowledge, this is a brain, okay? The guy with the knowledge is up here, right? So the highest level of buying in America is a tax sale like we were here or a mortgage foreclosure sale. So the guy that understands that gets these really good deals up here. He has cash, he has knowledge, he knows what he's doing. Down here is pretty much the dumbest guy. He's the guy paying market, right? He's the guy buying off the multiple listing service. This is like everybody in the planet in America, the multiple listing service is this shared service that real estate agents use. So somehow this is the tax sale, this may be mortgage foreclosure sale, this may be buying straight from the bank, this may be buying from a homeowner through a direct mailer, blah, blah, blah. They become less and less sophisticated ways to buy, right? So if you can buy here and capitalize on this, we just try to sell here. So I buy here intelligently, and then I pimp it out, or I market it, broker it to all these guys who sell down here to the general public. So the day I get this, I dump it down here to this group of people, which is 99% of the people buy this way, the old retail dumb way. So I put you in touch with all the people who sell like this, which is most people how they buy. And so you try to flip from here, you're just basically taking advantage of knowledge and cash and power to sell to these people down here who have no idea what they're doing. Just a quick flip, boom, 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 boom. I like to do that one. Even if it only makes me 30%. 30% in 6 months, how do you beat that? Whoever beats that? I mean, that's a good return. 20, 15. But like this one was, almost 100% return after everything was said and done.
After doing the rehab,
I did no rehab on this property.
after done
I didn't do a rehab on that one. Yeah, if I would have rehabbed that one, I probably would have made 750 grand. Probably. But it would have taken me almost 2 years to do it. I didn't care. For me, it's all a numbers game, right? I'm just like, okay, I can make 100% now in 6 months. I'm just going to go on down the road. I like the path of least resistance. Just move to the next one, move to the next one, move to the next one. I like a sure thing. My grandpa always said a bird in the hand was worth two in the bush. And I still believe that. If I can do something good today, I'll take it because I'm not guaranteed tomorrow. That's just me. Everybody's different.
So could there be a possibility that while you're waiting for the deed to come through, you could buy another one?
The sale's only once a year there. So yeah, but I can go to another city because this is Kansas City. St. Louis sales in September, right? Dallas's sale is in November. So I go to all the sales. This just happens to be the next one. So I'm just giving you examples from this one. I go to 16, 17 cities to do this. So yeah, I'm always buying these. I mean, we're gearing up to go. I can't wait for this one. I love the sales. It's like Super Bowl to me.
So as the starter, you could be buying one in Kansas City to start.
Yeah, start another one. Yeah, if you wanted.
Rather than waiting.
You could, yes, absolutely. Now, I'm also going to teach you about the mortgage foreclosures, right? I told you that's really my favorite way because it's every single day. So mortgage foreclosures in America, it's the same process kind of. I'll teach you that. But every day you can go down and buy those and you get those deeds in 1 week. So it's the same process, but I buy it and get the deed a week later. I don't get as deep of a discount as I do with the tax sale. So, but I get the property quicker, right? So I buy at the mortgage foreclosure sales, tax sales. I mail everybody in the city and say, hey, I buy your house. I got big billboards out. Every real estate agent calls me. Every bank calls me. I buy properties every way a guy can buy them. I'm just teaching you guys the two best ways to find value. I find them every way. Every way. My company's the biggest one in America for what I do, right? So everybody in my cities knows if it's a deal, we're going to buy it. So I do everything to find properties. But these are just the two most powerful discount ways to buy them.
With the estimate of it works, is there much chance that that might really get blown out, or is that fairly secure?
My guys, and you guys don't know me that well, but I don't ever, nothing pisses me off more than when my rehab guy tells me something's going to be 10 grand and it comes in at 12. So my guys know me good enough. If it's going to be 10, they're going to tell me it's 12. Because my jobs never go over. Because I'll fire people for stuff like that. I'm a numbers guy. And so everything's got to make sense numerically for me. So I don't play those games with my guys. If they mess up, I'll make them pay for it or something. So do they come in over? No, they usually come in under. I don't want to tell you that. But that's just how I play the game. I look at the worst case scenarios. So if it works in the worst case scenarios, then I like it. So my guys usually lie to me and up it a little bit. Because they know if it goes over, I'm going to be really pissed. So generally no. Now on this job, I know that it could possibly go over. Now, my little 2 and 3 week rehabs that are 10 to 30 grand, I'm always on budget with those. But this $400,000 rehab, I don't care who you are. You try to go bid this job, there's a million skeletons in that closet. That one could get blown out, yes. But the little 2 weeks to a month jobs, no. Those don't ever get blown out. But these big ones, that's why I don't like them. Because it doesn't matter who you are. There's so much going on in that house, you just don't know it all until you really get in there and start doing stuff. So those do get blown out sometimes. I'm scared of those jobs. That's why I didn't do it. So.
Tyler, after tax deed, you get when do we actually pay the money to you?
Well, I don't, we haven't worked through that whole process yet. I know that we have to pay the county that day. Here's the way I envision this thing working, right? So, and Carter will be better at this than me telling you this, but I envision it going like this. Okay, here's everybody who wants to be part of this tax foreclosure thing, you paid whatever to be part of the group, right? And then you say, okay, guys, here's the flat fee to go to the sale and buy properties. Let's just say, I don't even know, let's just say it's $1. It's a $1 fee to go to the sale. And then we'll say for every property you buy, it's an additional $1 to us. So I would say the time whenever we buy the property, we get the additional dollar for the fee, right? Whatever that is. And then when we do the construction, I say, okay, here's my bids, and I'll just give you my cost. And then we'll up that by $1 for our fee, right? So it's kind of every step along the way, you'll see the additional. We just kind of buffet it as it goes.
Pay ongoing.
It'd be, yeah, depending on what you want, because maybe you don't want to do a rehab, you just want to flip it. So then I say, okay, here's my flipper. That's a 5% of commission on sale or whatever. If you make $100,000, we get 5 of it or whatever. You see what I'm saying? So it depends on what you're doing. That's the way I envision it. So you kind of step it every step of the way because your idea might change. You might have thought you wanted to buy this to rehab it, and you're like, you know what? Shoot, Tyler, if you can sell it tomorrow, make me $10,000. Let's do it. I need money today. So I kind of buffet it like that. That's the way I envision it.
If it's sold or flipped over within 12 months, do we have to pay capital gains tax?
Or you do if you don't roll it. In America, we have something called a 1031 exchange. So that's how you just defer taxes. If you buy like or greater property, so say this is worth $100. If you sell this, you have to buy one equal to or greater in value, and you can just keep deferring it forever. So I bought this for 100, and I sold it for 200, right? So my capital gains would be 100. So I bought it for 1, sold it for 2, capital gains is 100. You have to pay probably 30% on that, 25 to 30, unless you go find one that's equal to or greater than 200. And you have usually 45 days to identify that and 6 months to close it. So you say, okay, guess what? I sold this property. Give me my 45 days to go identify another one. Oh, here it is. It's got to be equal to 200 or greater. Here's my property. Then you got 6 months to close it. You don't have to pay the taxes. So you can keep deferring it, or you can pay them. Either way. So we can defer them, or we can pay them.
Or otherwise you'd leave it for 12 months, then you'd have to pay any? Or not? In the US.
I didn't understand that. Say that one more time.
In Australia, if you have it for 12 months,
Yep.
then so that you don't have capital gains.
You pay capital gains on everything you own as an investment property in America. On your personal residence, you don't pay capital gains on anything. It was $255,000. If you make $255,000 or less, no capital gains. Anything over $255,000, you start paying on personal. I think they upped that to $300,000 though. I can't remember. But on investment properties, it's all capital gains. There is no, it's all unless you do the 1031. It's called a 1031 exchange to defer. Roll. You could do it forever. Yep. So, hey Carter, can I get some more of this, please? Up front, we had a question. He said, "Do I ever have to evict people from these houses?" First of all, the short answer is I evict people all the damn time. The tax sale houses, generally, I have to evict a lot less people because usually something no one's paid taxes on for 3 years is in really bad shape. Maybe 10% of the time. I mean, sometimes for real, it's $1 million home and you're like, the back taxes are 75 or 80 grand and then someone's living it, it's in great shape. That does happen. I'm like, how did this guy get to the point where he had this house, he didn't pay his taxes? You know, those are the ones that usually get bid up so high that I can't bid on them. It's the ones that get bid up real high are the ones that don't need any work. Tax sale, there's properties at the tax sale that don't really need anything for work. They're occupied. You know, those are the ones that most Joe Blow investors are like, wow, it's a beautiful house. They can see that. This big mammoth beast, I mean, if you would have seen the inside of this thing, you would have like, oh, holy shit. I mean, the floors were falling through, foundation was doing this, but I don't care. I can fix all that stuff. I'm not scared of that. But so generally tax sales, there's no one living in them, right? But the cool thing about the tax sale is the county will evict them for you. After you get the deed, once you get the deed, the county will go through a process of evicting the person, right? If they live there. It takes 45 to 60 days additional, right? But I'm trying to think if I ever bought a tax sale house that had a tenant in it. Well, I know I have, as I've had the county do it. It probably happens maybe 1 time out of 10 if you're lucky, right? Now the mortgage foreclosure sale, which we're going to talk about later, that I said's every day, those houses are in a lot better shape, right? They're not 3 years delinquent on taxes. These are houses that people usually live in. I mean, actually almost every time they're lived in. It's a totally different deal. That house needs a lot less work. I'm not getting as deep of a discount. I'm still getting a good deal. But the mortgage foreclosure, I got to go do it myself. I got to hire an attorney, do an eviction. It's usually $450. Pay an attorney $450. They file the paperwork. 45 days later, you're in court. You're winning in court, another 15 days to get them out. It's 45 to 60 days. But I'm pretty aggressive. So if I buy a house and someone's in it, there's certain ways you can get around some of the laws in America. And I've been doing this one for a while. If someone lives in the house, I'll usually go over and say, hey, I'm going to evict you. I'm going to have to pay my lawyer $400. Here's $200 that I'll give you now, and I'll give you another $200 next week if you give me the keys to your house, right? It's cash for keys type deal. Generally, that works, right? They're like, you know what? I'm going to have to get kicked out anyways. Great. Give me some money. I'll go on down the road. That gets me about 60 to 70% of the way through. If that doesn't work and they're stubborn or whatever, then I'll have to go to court. Or sometimes it's just a squatter. It's just somebody who I don't know if you guys use that term here, just somebody, a transient or whatever, who just moved into this house that's not theirs. And I always know when that's the case, too. I can just tell. And those guys, I'm a little bit less friendly to because I'm going to give you some cash to get out of a house that you never owned. You shouldn't have been here anyways. That kind of pisses me off. I'll do it just because it's easy. But if they won't do that and they don't understand, they're like, nah, I'll never leave here. I'll usually have my guys go over like late at night or early in the morning and take all the doors off the house. Because what I can't do is go in and forcefully get this person out. They have rights. But I own that house. It's my house. I need those doors for another house. That's why when the police show up, I'm like, hey, I'm sorry, but I need that front door on my house down the street. I own this house. I got to protect my house down the street. And so I'll take the doors off the hinges. That's kind of how I start. So these are things that are a little bit outside the box. I wouldn't do this with your houses, but that's what I start doing. Or I'll have my guys go over a couple times, knock on the door, and harass them a little bit. But I just want them out of my house. But that's not exactly the right way to do it. The right way to do it is go hire the lawyer and kick them out. But when someone's in my house, I want them out. That's just me. I want to start working. But do evictions happen? Yes, they take about 60 days. Short answer. $450, 60 days. One time out of 10, maybe on a mortgage foreclosure or a tax foreclosure. 9 times out of 10 on a mortgage foreclosure. Okay, so I just figured, but mortgage foreclosure, you get the deed 2 days. 2 days to 7 days later. So whatever. And then if I got to wait another 45 days to evict somebody, great. Who cares? Okay, good. All right. All right. Let me go back to my PowerPoint here. I think I got way off course. Okay, so narrow the list and wait. So basically, I was at the point where I was saying, hey, this big mammoth list comes out, right? And I really don't even work that list till 2 or 3 weeks before the sale because, okay, the list gets narrowed down at the end. So I don't send my construction crews out to do all the construction bids like we're talking about and do all the title research. It's a waste of time because 60 to 70% of the properties on that, on that newspaper that you guys have an example of here, whatever, you should have it somewhere, but it was on the board. 60 or 70% of these. If I can get this, I got to escape out of here. Here we go. %, 70% of these get knocked off. So when my guys do the bidding in these auctions, like these got knocked off. So they'll scratch through the ones that got knocked off, basically. But I'll have this master list for you guys. But 60 or 70% of these are gone. So the 40 to 30% that are remaining, I'll take those and identify the ones that I like, which is maybe 20% of those, and that's maybe 200 homes. And then I'll break down and do all the work on those. I won't do all work on 4,000. It's just a waste of time. Doesn't make any sense. So that's what I'm talking about here on my PowerPoint. F5. Okay, so what I mean by wait is, okay, I get the list, I kind of shoot it out to you guys, then I wait to do all the final research. So that's what we're doing now. We've identified our areas, we wait a little bit, boom. All of a sudden, here it is, 2 or 3 weeks before the sale, I crush this thing. I send my title guys out to start doing title work to make sure all these titles are insurable. That's my number one goal. If it's not an insurable title, I don't ever send my rehab guys out, because why would I? I can't buy that house. So of the ones I like, all of a sudden I see some federal tax liens, those go away. Dangerous building search. This is another one that I very rarely buy because, let me go to mistake number 2 here. Let's find my mistakes. Okay, so my very first tax sale, I'm so pumped up. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go out here and buy all these houses. I had 20 grand. I really didn't know anything about federal tax liens. I just got lucky and didn't buy any of those that time. I just thought that all of these properties had insurable titles. I didn't know anything about that. So I just went down and bought them. I found out later that I had one that was uninsurable. I was like, oh, that sucks. And then I didn't know anything about dangerous buildings, right? What that means is this. In Kansas City, in almost every city, the city will, if a house is old and dilapidated, the city will sometimes raise that house, demolish it, do whatever, just to kind of knock down a bad structure to bring the value of the area back. Well, in August, because I told you guys here that the sale's in August, right? In August, I drove by this house. And this is a great neighborhood. There was a beautiful house on it. What I didn't know was about this dangerous building thing. It had been dubbed by the city as a dangerous building to be knocked down. So in August, there was a house there. In December, when the confirmation hearing came, I bought like 10 or 15 properties. I called my guys and said, okay, here's the 9 that got confirmed. Guys, let's go out and start construction. My construction guy keeps calling. He's like, Tyler, I don't know if I'm stupid or what, but I cannot find this house. I'm like, listen. I was like, I know there's a house there. I've seen it with my own eyes. Because I'm a hard person to deal with for my employees sometimes. I said, listen, don't make me drive over there and show you this damn house. And so I'm driving. I'm like, all I see on the ground. This picture was taken just like a few months ago, which I think is funny. This thing here was the old tax sale deal. They posted it on this tree. It was still there, like 8 years later. It's all beat up and not it like had these nails in it and stuff. It was laminated. I was like, holy crap, this thing's still there. I should take this down and frame it. But when I went back over, there was all this like hay and straw on the ground here, and I'm looking around like, holy hell, these guys knocked this house down. So this house I bought was on 70th Terrace, which I thought was my best buy. Like no one bid on it with me. Like I was like, God, this house is so nice. Didn't hear hardly any work. I thought it was in a great neighborhood. So they knocked it down like in November. And so I bought this house for $4,000. It got knocked down, so I bought this lot for $4,000. Whatever. So this is like another mistake, learning lesson for me, right? So again, every mistake that's possible to make, I made over the last 14 years. There is no more mistakes, right? So I know all the pitfalls. No one can tell me what, Tyler, what if this happens? Well, I've already done all that. I can tell you exactly what happens in the situations that's happened to me. So, this is just another example of kind of learning the hard way. But so we look for federal tax liens, dangerous buildings. Let me go back to my PowerPoint slide. Bam. Okay. So my guys do the title search, make sure it's insurable, look for this dangerous building, another Tyler mistake. And then once I know that this is a good property, then I'll send my guys out, my rehab guys. So it clears all my other checks, no federal tax lien, no dangerous building, title search comes back clean, it's an area I like. Now I'll send my guys out. So then my guys go out and do a physical inspection and do a write-up because I can't make a decision whether or not I want to buy until they do this. So like I said, this is no more work than I would normally do at a sale. My guys will go look at all 150 houses that I want. I'll narrow the list down to 60 houses that I like based upon their physical inspections. So they'll go out and take pictures, they do write-ups on what the house is going to take to get up to par, and then I kind of go from there, right? So that's kind of where I'm at in the process. 60 to 70% of them have been knocked off. Of that 30 to 40%, I figure out what areas I like. So maybe of that 30 or 40% remaining, I like 20% of those areas. I take those areas, do the title search, make sure there's no dangerous building, make sure there's no tax lien, federal tax lien. Then I go out and do an inspection of the property. Then I just start looking at the numbers. Then I get my max bid amount. If I know this property at 123 Main Street can be rehabbed for $20,000, I know I can sell it for 70. Then I'll make my max bid 20 or something, right? Maybe the taxes start at $3,000. I don't care what they start at. I'll just tell my guys, here you go. Here's your max bid on this one, $20,000, $15,000. So we go to the auction and they just have a stopping point. They're like, starts at $3,000, they bid up, bid up, bid up. If it gets over the point that I don't want to go any higher, then we just stop. It's just a numbers game. You win some and you lose some. And it's like I said, it's crazy. Some of the ones I know are dog crap. People bid way up over the roof, and some of the ones I know are gems no one bids on. And I can't tell you why that is. It's just there's such a massive amount of them, and sometimes the title work gets a little crazy to research, or maybe somebody's not used to an area, so some of them just fall through the cracks. I mean, and some of them are hotter areas than others. That's why I have to go look at everything, right? Because I don't ever want to miss anything. Let me tell you another good story. This is a real good story. I just remembered it. Okay, I'm going to run out of paper, so I'm going to do this. Do you have more of this paper, Carter?
Yeah.
Okay, so this happened in St. Louis. This is a great story. So in St. Louis, I see this taxes on this property for I think it was like $32,000 or something. Wow, this is going to be a great building or apartment complex. So my guys are going out. I said, man, that's a great area of town. It was on, it's like 50th and Baltimore in St. Louis. And so I said, yeah, that's going to be, it's like an office park area. So I said, there's got to be an office building, guys. Go check it out. My guy goes over. It's Bank of America, big Bank of America building with like a retail branch of Bank of America on the side. And I'm like, holy hell, $32,000 Bank of America building. I'd love to have that. So I go down there and I start doing my research, and really what it was this big Bank of America building. This is an aerial view, like, okay, we're up in an airplane looking down. This is the lot, let's say. This is the size of the lot. This huge Bank of America building sat on this much of the lot, and then here they had like a retail branch with some drive-ups right here, drive your car through here and do your thing, or walk in here. So this was like corporate office, and this was like retail branch. Well, this lot that all this is on was subdivided into a bunch of parcels like this. So there's like, these are a bunch of parcels that make up this big compound that this thing's on. Well, this middle parcel right here literally ran right here. It ran in the middle of the drive-ups, and part of this building had taxes of like 30 grand from 3 years, right? And so I'm like, this is interesting. So the rest of this is still is all paid up. All these are paid up, and this is paid up, right? This is all paid up, but this one sliver is going. And so I was like, that's weird that Bank of America wouldn't see this. So I said, let's just roll the dice on this one, guys. At the tax sale, it started at like 30 some odd grand. I just wanted it because I thought if I can get this, there's some power here, because this was the highest foot traffic branch for Bank of America in the city, which means it was kind of in the poor area of town. All the poor people would walk in to cash their checks. So this was a valuable branch for Bank of America because they had a lot of foot traffic, right? That's a big deal to them. So I said, let's try to get this. So some other lawyers in town bid it up. I think we bid it to like 160 grand. So I bid it up to like 160 grand. The taxes started at 30 something. We ended up getting it. I figured I'd lose at the confirmation hearing, but I was just trying to see, because I knew if I could get this piece of land, I'd have Bank of America by the nuts, because they had to negotiate with me because about this much of this building was sitting on my parcel and all their drive-ups, and they're not going to move this whole thing for this. So I bought this land. It was like 100 and some odd $1,000. I'm figuring for sure at the confirmation hearing they're going to overturn it. No one shows up. I was like, okay, deal's confirmed. I never went over there to mess with it until I got the deed. Usually I go before and get real aggressive. I was still nervous about this one. So I got the deed in the mail in February. So I was like 23 years old then too. I was a little bit more brash then. So I called my head foreman. I said, listen, we got the aerial map out. I want you to go measure everything out here. And I said, I want you to put some chain fence right here with a little barrier, and chain fence with a barrier back here so no one could get in, and wait for the bank manager to call us. Put our name and number up here. So he's like, are you sure, Tyler? I'm like, listen, this is mine. I own it. Go block it in. So he went over here and blocked this thing in. He's blocking this thing in. Bank managers come running out here. All this. What are you doing? What are you guys doing? Called the police. The police called me. I said, listen, they don't understand tax sales or any of this stuff. They're like, I kind of believe what you're saying, but you got to get your guys out of here for now. I got to get some more of this. So I got them out of there and did the whole thing. Well, I bought this deal back I've been leasing it to Bank of America for like 10 years. I've been leasing it back to them at an astronomically high rate. I finally sold it to them, but this is the kind of stuff I like at the tax sales, to find some little gem like this. So Bank of America they just messed up. In their system, they had everything's by parcel number, everything's numerical. They had the parcel number off by one number in their system. It's not the county's fault. And so they kept not paying these taxes. And Bank of America gets bombarded with these tax sale things all the time because they have loans everywhere. And they have another system to run them through when you have a loan yourself on a house. But when it's Bank of America, they don't think they're going to mess this thing up, right? So it doesn't run through their normal process. So this was just a process error for them. And so they couldn't believe it. I mean, I had like some of the main corporate guys calling me. And I said, listen, I'm not going to sell you this. I mean, it's mine. I own it. You guys can move or whatever. But I was acting like I really love this area. But I'll lease it to you. So I was pulling down like a 30% rate of return on the investment. But it was just more than that. It was cool to me because every time I drove by there, I'd be like, I was just in my mind, I know I had them. But I ended up selling it to them just because as I get older, I just felt like it was not a very nice thing to do to them. But so I was just like, whatever, here you go. But nevertheless, I don't even know how I got on that. But I have a bunch of more cool stories like this too. I could tell you all day long. But I love the tax sale because it could just be stuff like this. You never know what the hell you're going to find. A vacant piece of land somewhere. I mean, there's just so many possibilities. But whatever. I got way off track. I have no idea what I'm talking about right now. But so back to step 6. So we funnel it down. We start doing the research. Figure out what we're buying. Then, okay, good. Let's go back. Ooh. Sorry, F5. Golly, why does it always do that? Well, okay, yeah, you figure it out, yeah. Okay, so narrow it down, start doing my title search. Okay, here's another part of the deal. If you look back, if you remember so if you look here, let me find one. Okay, this one's complex. I'm going to see what you can see fully though. Okay, you can kind of see a couple of them. I wish we had more examples, but if you look like, okay, let's just start here. This one's the west 25 feet of lot 20 and the east 35 feet of lot 21, block 8. This one up here is even worse. The north 29 degrees west of the 62.73 feet along the curve to the left of the 140.63 feet, then north 65 degrees, blah, 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 blah. That's a tough legal description for a normal person to decipher. And I didn't even used to look at those. I would just look at this, 5915 Wabash, 5907. And so I would drive down the street, and if the house address matched up, I just figured that must be what I was buying. Well, in county terms, the most powerful piece is this legal description. That's what really tells you what you're buying. That's what defines this lot, like this. Here's my lot, right? And this legal description is what's telling me. Like the first one, Prospect Manor, lot 28. Well, if I look at my parcel maps, I can see this is all lot 28. But when it starts saying crap like this, the west 25 feet of lot 20, so that might be this much of this one. And then next door, the east 35 feet of lot 21. So I got 35 feet here and 20 feet here. So I'm really buying this. I never looked at these legal descriptions. Here's mistake number 3. I just went by these damn addresses. And I thought, well, this must be okay. No, that's the worst thing you can do. This is kind of a nice little guide to show you where you're at, but this by no means, shape, or form, if I drive to a house and it says 5915 Wabash on it, that doesn't mean I'm buying 5915 Wabash. I got to check this out. The legal description, that's what I'm really buying.